Bloomberg's chief Washington correspondent Peter Cook is on the Hill. He is standing by with Ohio Senator Rob Portman. Peter?
Deirdre, thanks very much. I'm joined here by Senator Portman, who knows these issues well, both as a member of Congress, also, of course, as President Bush's former budget director. Good to see you. Thanks for the time.
Peter, thanks for having me on again.
Right now, you look at the situation, a lot of Americans scratching their head. Republicans, Democrats can't agree on spending for this fiscal year. It's less than 1% of the entire federal budget. What do they make of that?
Well, you're right. If we can't solve the problems of this year's spending, which is a result of the Congress not doing its work last year, it doesn't bode well for the future because we have to tackle the much bigger problems. I'm hopeful that today and tomorrow we'll finally come to some agreement between the White House and the House Republicans, which is really the key right now, and at least take these tiny steps toward getting our fiscal house in order.
Everything yesterday was pointing towards a shutdown. The last time we had a shutdown, 1990s, didn't end up all that well for Republicans. Is there a risk to Republicans of being blamed if there is a shutdown here?
Well, I think the Republican leader in the House, John Boehner, has offered a very sensible plan. As you say, it's less than 1% of a reduction in spending over this year. And I would hope the White House would accept that and we could move on to the bigger issue, which is what do we do going forward? Next year's budget, a proposal was, as you know, presented yesterday by Congressman Paul Ryan in the House. And then going forward for the next 10 years, the president's budget did not address the fiscal problems we face as a country. And we need to do that, and we need to get on with that much more important work.
The Ryan plan is already controversial. As you know, Democrats have attacked it. He's attacked it specifically for the changes to Medicare and Medicaid, saying he's putting these changes on the backs of elderly Americans, on poor Americans. What do you make of that criticism right now? I noticed that you've commended Ryan for his plan, said you're going to review it, but you haven't explicitly backed what he's put on the table.
I haven't seen the details, nor has anybody. Apparently, the Congressional Budget Office did a review of the Medicare proposals, which came out last night. I look forward to looking at that. But the reality is, as I understand it, what the Ryan plan does is it allows Americans to have the same kind of health care in their senior years as under Medicare as members of Congress have now, which is the Federal Employees Health Benefit Plan. That certainly is one that makes a lot of sense, I think, because it enables people to have a better plan, choices of plans, and creates more competition between insurance companies for the seniors. So I think it makes sense from what I've seen, but I haven't looked at the details. The big picture here is that the President's bipartisan fiscal commission set out a goal of reducing the deficit by $4 trillion over the next 10 years, and the Ryan plan meets that goal. The void here is presidential leadership. And into that vacuum, Paul Ryan has stepped, other people are stepping. The President needs to get engaged in this because this has to be a bipartisan effort, and the White House has to play a role.
There are a lot of senators talking about a bipartisan effort trying to make the deficit commission plan become a legislative reality. Are you prepared to back that concept?
We'll see what they come up with, but I'm very supportive. I was one of the senators who signed the letter to the President encouraging him to look at the Fiscal Commission's report, his own fiscal commission, and to get engaged in this because I believe that we face a very dire fiscal situation and we need to address it. And to me, again, if the President doesn't step forward, it will be impossible to do it. The President, after all, would have to sign any legislation that came out of the House and Senate. But the President also needs to show leadership to be sure that we have the support in the United States Senate, where, as you know, you need 60 votes to pass anything. And neither party has that 60 votes. So it's time for the President to step forward, to show leadership, to address what all Americans acknowledge is a big problem. I think the Democrats, frankly, are selling the American people short when they think that by not putting forward a plan and not doing anything that somehow that will be to their political advantage, and that the political risk is not doing anything.
All right. Senator Rob Portman of Ohio, appreciate it. Welcome back here to Congress. Good to have you
Thanks,
here on
Peter.
Bloomberg. And Eric, Deirdre, we'll send it back to you in New York.
Peter, thanks so much.